Jesus says, "You will not hear from me again, Jerusalem, until you say, 'Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord.' I would have gathered you as a hen gathers her chicks. You would not come." But Jesus speaks to a future when God is putting all things back together. Jesus will build his church, and his church will be a sign to the principalities and powers of the reconciliation that comes through the blood of Jesus Christ. That will happen. The question is whether that will happen with us. And that I don't know. God does not need an American evangelical movement. God does not need a Southern Baptist convention. God does not need a Presbyterian church in America. God does not need a gospel coalition. All of these things are good and right so far as they are lined up with the purposes of God. But even if they do not, God is building his church. Look at what's happening in Africa. Look at what's happening in Asia. Aslan is on the move. The question is whether we will join ourselves to what God is doing in the world as the people who have enough faith to say, "Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord," which means we recognize him as Lord, which means we cannot say, "We want your blessing, God, but don't disturb us too much. We want your blessing, God, but don't change our order of worship. We want your blessing, God, but don't change our institutions of power. We want your blessing, God, but don't change our systems." We instead say, God is doing something, and we want to join him in that. So we gather and say, the one who has spoken to us in Jerusalem in the first century is the one who will return to Jerusalem in triumph and power, and we want to be on his side. And that's through the cross. If you really speak about issues of racial injustice, racial unity, you will be unpopular. The Apostle Paul is unpopular in Galatia. But he says, "I did not yield to them for a moment," to those who would change the gospel. Why? "So that the gospel would be preserved for you."